Lee Sanders. Get fun, in-depth coverage and analysis from the latest in professional wrestling in AEW, WWE, NWA, Impact Wrestling, or the world of entertainment. From hit TV shows to your favorite sports like the NBA or NFL. All things music, movies, and beyond, while trying to make sense of this crazy world we live in. All things music. All while keeping it honest, insightful, and interactive since 2011. And now your hosts, live from the nation's capital of Washington, D.C., Lee Sanders.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Covering the latest in wrestling, entertainment, and beyond since 2011. You are checking out episode number 1063 of the RCWR show. Lee Sanders here for this Monday night, or at least what remains of Monday night for this December 11th, 2023. Came on just a little bit late tonight, and for a very good reason. For me, at least, final exam week is here. This is it. And I have just been a busy bee all weekend, getting my study on, all that good stuff. If you're following me throughout social media, one of my classes has to do with putting together a live radio show that all your peers are going to be able to hear no matter where they are on campus. They're going to be able to tune in with the link and hear. And I have to put together a 30-minute live radio show. Now, some of you guys may say, oh, that's real easy to do, Lee. No. This one has a very specific format, jingles. And now, we did have a lot of creative freedom as far as we could use any jingles that we want, whether a friend did the jingle or a commercial for us, or we do the jingle and commercial ourselves. So there's a little bit of flex room right there. We also had to be original and create a sports or business report, all that stuff. So I'm going to be live tomorrow on Live Campus Radio, 1 p.m. Eastern. It's going to be a 30-minute show. For those of you that may be interested and you want to tune in, maybe you'll be in between classes yourself, or maybe just maybe you'll have the day off, or maybe you're going to be on your lunch break and you want to just represent and everything. If you have X, formerly known as Twitter, or Facebook, get at me on those respective platforms, or you could always shoot me an email, the RCWR show at gmail.com. Make sure you put the THE in there. Let me know who you are and all that. And I'll actually hook you up with the link. No problem whatsoever. I'll definitely hook you up. Just make sure you reach out to me. I'm not going to do a full-blown blast of it and anything of that nature, because I know some of you guys are hearing that. You're probably saying, why not just put the full blast out there, including the link and all that? I just got to make sure that we don't have any weird shenanigans go down and all of that. Hope you guys had a fantastic weekend and everything was good. We are, about less than 2 weeks away from Christmas. Have you all done your Christmas shopping yet? Don't feel bad if you haven't done so already. Yours truly still needs to shop for his respective family. But I tell you what, man, if you plan on getting your loved ones a gift and you're trying to utilize all those postal services that's out there, this is the week that you need to be doing it, as far as putting in those orders, making sure that it gets to where it needs to go to on time. Or maybe you're going to be the one that's receiving all of these things you're going to be giving to your loved ones, and you're trying to gift wrap them and everything. This is your week to do it, because the cutoff is, I believe, Friday, Saturday, even Sunday, just to guarantee that it's going to arrive by Christmas so you can do what you need to do to gift wrap and all of that good stuff. So, originally, just something I was thinking about for one of my family members. I was thinking about getting them a new TV. Now, before anybody goes, look at you, big spender. Oh, yeah, big spender. Before you jump out there, no, I was going to get something around 50 to a 55-inch flat screen TV. And I saw some really good brand name deals. They were going for, I saw Samsungs, I saw Vizios. A lot of people are sleeping on them Vizio TVs. I got to be honest with you. A lot of people sleeping on those Vizio TVs. You get yourself a Vizio TV, that bad boy, and you do it right, that bad boy will be good to you. I promise you. I have at least two Vizio TVs up in this house. Wait, is it two or is it three? Let me just think real quick. No, I've got two Vizio TVs. It was three, but we went on ahead and gave one to a friend of the family when we were getting ready to upgrade. So we're now down to two Vizio TVs that's in here now. But Vizio TVs, my God, I remember when I started dating my wife. So at that time, she was my girlfriend. She at that point had her Vizio TV for about 5 years. And we kept pushing that Vizio until probably 2 years ago. Yeah, 2 years ago, because 2021, that's when we finally upgraded the TV, which was a Vizio, in our bedroom. So grand total, Vizio TV, by the way, it still works. We just decided we wanted to upgrade. So we actually gave that older model to my mother-in-law. And then we had one other Vizio TV. We went on ahead and put that downstairs in the living room to entertain guests and everything. But those Vizio TVs, they have been, and I'm knocking on wood, I don't have them now for damn near 20 years. Can you guys believe that? Damn near 20 years. So you do your TVs just right. You pick the really good stuff, the good stuff that's out there, and they will definitely last you a long time. But yeah, I saw Vizios, I saw Samsungs that were going for just under 250. Just under 250. So shout out to my people out there that maybe aren't really fans of going out there doing the shopping in person because you don't want to be rubbing elbows with so many different people, especially if you're a little bit germ phobic. Not everybody has, oh, hey, the pandemic's over. Not everybody's going fiesta forever. Not everybody's doing that. There's still a lot of cautious people out there that are wearing their mask and things of that nature. So, and, more respect to them, more power to them. I know I'm one of those people. If I'm going to be among the general public, a lot of people, I'm still pushing my mask and everything. It's not unless I am in a really small, intimate setting where there's only but so many people, I go, okay, I'll take my mask off for a little bit and that'll be it and everything. So, yeah, but I'm excited for tomorrow. That's just one of many final exams that I have coming up this week. And there are a lot of you all out there that are gearing up for final exam as well. So, shout out to you guys. I hope that it all goes pretty solid for you all. By the way, before we go any further into the show, I know it had went down last week, I think in the middle of last week, but we weren't on the air at the time to react to the news and everything. But I definitely want to take this time out and I want to offer my thoughts, my prayers, my condolences, but also resolution to the people that were affected by that horrific shooting that went down out there. What was that in Las Vegas? With at the University Las Vegas shooting. I mean, that was just ridiculous to hear that this 67, almost 70-year-old man who apparently had tried to apply to many other universities to be a professor got rejected by them all. This guy just had one serious bad day, apparently. That would be honestly an understatement. And this guy just went and shot a couple of people. And I mean, you just hear that and you just go, what the heck is going on? Like, seriously, the University of Nevada in Las Vegas, three people were killed, three additional people were wounded. As many of you all know, two of those that were wounded were police officers, and the shooter himself was shot and killed by the police. So I just wish that the three people that he shot and killed, I just wish they would have been able to survive their injuries. But I'm speechless just thinking about this, because you keep hearing about these shootings, and we're becoming so what's the right word I'm looking for? We're becoming so numb. Okay, it's almost like a everyday norm what we're hearing, and everything. And I thought it was rather badass to see how the NBA was quickly on top of this, issuing out a statement. LeBron James following up with his own personal statement and everything. And look, when it's all said and done, we can be here all night for an entire week coming up with some really great solutions on how we can put a curb stomp to all of this. But when it gets right down to the heart of the matter, it's all about voting from the bottom on up to the top. That's what it is all about. So I've said it off and on over the years on this show, but when it comes to voting, I don't care if you're a Democrat, I don't care if you're a Republican, I don't care if you're an independent, you're part of the Tea Party, I don't care what your affiliation is. If you're not liking what's going on with the current system, locally and beyond within the USA, then get involved. Make sure that when it counts the most for your respected neighborhood, you're getting involved in the voting, and you're voting for the people that you feel best represent your beliefs, best represent your thought process when it comes to policies and everything. That's the only way that we're going to be able to break this cycle. You feel me? That's really the only way we're going to be able to do this. But definitely thoughts and prayers to those that were tragically affected by the shootings out there. Just very unfortunate. I know that had went down last week, but like I said, sadly, we weren't on the air. I actually was supposed to be on that Wednesday after Dynamite, but I got so caught up in final prepping for exams and everything that I sadly wasn't able to do it. Hey, what did you guys think about tonight's WWE Raw? You could sound off, let your voice be heard. I didn't put a poll up this week. Again, just taking it easy, a little bit far behind. I'm going to try to do a little bit of a short show for you guys tonight, because I want to get as much rest as possible, so I will be nice and ready for my classes tomorrow. So we'll probably go about anywhere from an hour to an hour 15 minutes strong. We're going to stay as far away from 90 minutes as possible. You can definitely bank on that. I thought tonight's Raw was, look, you had a very enticing carrot, as I always like to refer to, as far as the hook. Why am I sticking around? What's the motivation here? CM Punk, the decision. I couldn't help but go into this and almost thinking about how everything had played out with the past 2 weeks worth of WWE programming, and in the way in which CM Punk was utilized across all the shows, the way he was utilized on Raw, the way he was utilized on SmackDown, where he was utilized even on NXT. It made me feel like the infamous ESPN special from back in the day with LeBron James. Remember that with Jim Gray? The decision. For basketball fans, we salivated this for weeks upon weeks, and we all were definitely glued to our TV sets to see just where LeBron was going to be taking his talents. Was it going to be a case where he was going to do something with the Cleveland Cavaliers? Was he going to try to remain with them? Or Was he gonna go right when we heard all the rumblings that was happening and everything, right? You all remember it very well, but not since. And it's so funny because in retrospect, after it was all said and done, in retrospect, we all, as sports fans, I think I might have to sneeze. Yep, I sneezed. Yep. Ooh, bless me, please. But when it was all said and done, when the decision was done and the show was just, in the books, we all, as sports fans, as basketball fans, years later, we said, that probably was kind of bad to do it the way that it was done, just the exploitation alone. And even LeBron had commented on that particular moment many years later saying, yo, if I could have that one back, yeah, I definitely wouldn't have conducted myself and the decision. I wouldn't have done it like that because it was truly a spectacle. It really, really was. It was a circus event when it was all said and done. So seeing how CM Punk had pretty much and WWE conducted this whole decision process, I loved it. I freaking loved it. And it pretty much culminating in CM Punk making an appearance at the NXT Deadline Premium Live event. Notice that WWE never did advertise. They never did say publicly, yo, CM Punk, he's going to be on NXT Deadline. They never did say that. But this was pretty much one of those deals where you're putting two and two together, especially if you have your social media game going on. You're seeing all the stuff that was being put out there with CM Punk. Oh, foolish me. I missed my flight. Now I'm stuck in Connecticut. And all of that. You just kind of had this vibe that, you know what? I think if there was ever time to tune in to NXT, tonight needs to be that night because, and like, how surreal is this, y'all? How surreal is this? Just really stop and think about this because talk about a very busy Saturday night that we had this past weekend. Not only did you have the NXT Deadline Premium Live event going on, but you also had TNA Wrestling. I believe it was their Final Resolution pay-per-view. And I actually, as a YouTube Premium Plus subscriber for TNA, I actually get to watch the replay of that event. I haven't had a chance to watch it yet. I'm hoping I can sit down and check it out sometime tomorrow night, going into Wednesday, and let y'all know what I had thought about it on the Wednesday show and everything. But yeah, TNA Wrestling doing their thing. And then let's not also forget that AEW Collision. And I can't wait to see how the ratings for Collision did. Because while Collision was on, NXT Deadline was on as well. So, I mean, it's just so surreal when you think about it. Here is a show in AEW Collision that pretty much TNT executives had said, okay, look, you want another block of programming? Okay. Oh, but CM Punk is going to be at the centerpiece for this whole new show. And essentially, CM Punk was the one that was the captain. He was steering the ship known as AEW Collision. To now see him on a premium live event opposite of Collision, it's just, it's just so weird how 2023 ended up for wrestling fans as a whole, is it not? I mean, really, you just can't help but think about that. So all of that, just the totality of all of that, seeing CM Punk running around between all these brands and everything, making his big decision tonight. I like how he had us going, though, because it sure as hell seemed like it was a no-brainer. Oh, he's going to go with Monday Night Raw. But then you're toying with the idea of, well, CM Punk, he was over in AEW, and he was trying to work and put over younger talent. So is he maybe trying to pay it forward, and maybe he wants to continue to pay it forward? Maybe he'll actually do something with NXT, or is there a lot of meat on that bone when it comes to WWE Raw? You also think about Smackdown, man, just is he going to lock it up with Kevin Owens? Could he maybe renew a feud there with Randy Orton? Could he coexist with LA Knight, right? Can he truly coexist with Kevin Owens, or is he going to fight Kevin Owens? There's just how successful will he be against the bloodline? Because there's just so many Samoans in the bloodline. Can he truly be the one to dethrone Roman Reigns? And then just Roman Reigns, CM Punk alone, that's a trilogy right there that you guys are staring at. You could easily have that bad boy pop off next year's SummerSlam. And you can easily run it back by Survivor Series. And then have everything wrap up at WrestleMania. I mean, it's very, very easy to just map all of that out, especially if you want to end up switching CM Punk from a babyface to a heel and let Roman go from a heel to a babyface. Maybe you have Paul Heyman betray Roman Reigns. I mean, there's just so much that you could do with that. I mean, as a fan, I'm just going, yo, WWE's got so much flexibility, seriously. Because when you stop and think about it, their roster right now, when it comes to two things, caliber of talent, they are top heavy as right now. They are top heavy as I have not seen it this top heavy, almost not since almost 10 years ago. Is that a fair argument to say? When CM Punk was with the WWE, the first rodeo, I mean, it was pretty top heavy as I don't know what way back when. And you've got it so top heavy right now that when you really look at that roster and you really break it down, you go, man, yeah, it's pretty top heavy. At the same time, however, we have so many baby faces and not enough heels that we got to try to balance it out just a little bit more. So it's really a great time, not just to be a WWE fan, but a really great time to be a wrestling fan as well. As CM Punk kind of giving you the impression tonight he wasn't going to sign with the Raw brand, that maybe he was going to take his talents over to Smackdown. You kind of felt that process of elimination NXT was just... It wasn't that essentially CM Punk went over to NXT for the little kid in him because he's a huge HBK fan. By the way, what I would have given back in the day to see a CM Punk HBK Shawn Michaels feud. That's one of those. Now see if at a perfect time, in a perfect place, and HBK was going to come out of retirement for one more match, and it was going to go down in Saudi Arabia. I wish that it could have been one-on-one against CM Punk. I think CM Punk would have done a phenomenal job in really covering up any ring rust that Shawn Michaels was having. I really believe that in my heart of hearts. I think he would have pulled out. I don't think it would have been a 5-star match. For the record, I don't think it would have been a 5-star match. It probably would have been anywhere from a 3.5, possibly a 4, but I'm leaning a lot more towards 3.5. It would have been a decent enough match as a... Just think about your favorite album. No matter what that album is, just think to yourself what your favorite album is and how you could just pretty much let that album play from beginning to end. And then you hear that, oh man, there's some B-sides to that album that didn't make the cut. So as a result of that, there's now a B-side album of rarities and stuff that's running around, and you're hearing the unreleased tracks that didn't make it to the album, and you're going, yo, okay, I can kind of understand why this didn't make it to the actual album, because it feels the flow. It's entirely different. It's good, but it's entirely different. Or you go, these songs were good, but what they did over here for the actual album that was a masterpiece. But this is a great companion piece. I think a lot of us, when it was all said and done, if we would have gotten that CM Punk HBK match later part of HBK's career, yeah, it definitely would have complemented the overall work that HBK Shawn Michaels had put out there and everything. But CM Punk making his decision, he's going to be going with the red brand. This had prompted Seth Rollins to come out. And I got to tell you, as soon as I saw that segment go down, I immediately said, well, hit the fan, okay? Don't hit the fan. Let's get it going, right? And Rollins coming out there, very serious demeanor on his face. Rollins just had this look on his face, like how I would look if I'm at the all-you-can-eat buffet and there was like some really good cake that the staff had recommended, and I decide for dessert I want to go get a slice of that cake, and the last person took that slice of cake, and sadly we've just been informed that no more of that cake is going to be available for the rest of the day for whatever respected reason. And I'm just mean mugging the hell out of that person that took that last slice of cake. I mean, that's how Seth Rollins was looking after hearing this announcement from CM Punk and everything. And that was a really, really good confrontation between those two. By the way, shout out to Seth Rollins for going above and beyond in the recent string of interviews that he had put out there within recent days, letting it be known, hey, I will do what I need to do to pretty much get along with CM Punk, and I don't think we're going to have any of the issues that CM Punk was having elsewhere, because without saying AEW's name, you just pretty much were able to read right in between the lines, and essentially Seth Rollins saying, yo, we are a different kind of company. We are really top-notch professionals. We don't play around when it comes to that type of stuff. So I liked seeing Seth Rollins actually kind of defend to a degree CM Punk. You know, you can make that argument and everything. So Rollins telling CM Punk, you know what? Glad you're here. Glad that you're going to be having your talents be showcased right here on Monday Night Raw. But one thing you need to stop doing is calling this place home, because it's not. Let's be for real, okay? Let's keep it 100. You walked out on this company. You walked out on the fans. And you spent the better part of a decade tearing everybody up in this company, trying to tear everybody in this company down. And Rollins telling Punk straight up, I hate you for that. But, however, if Punk is going to be around this time in the WWE, then Rollins wants him right there on Monday Night Raw, as he feels that when it's all said and done, this is going to be Punk's last chance. So either Punk will self-destruct. And it's so funny because when I think about self-destruct, I'm automatically thinking about the self-destruction of the Ultimate Warrior DVD and how everybody was just pretty much roasting that poor man for 90 minutes. Jesus, good luck finding that, because if you're able to find it online, usually it costs a pretty good penny these days. But then Rollins switches it up and says, if by so miracle, and there is some gas left in the tank, and you truly are a changed person and you're going down a different path and everything now, then I hope that one day I can show you what it truly means to be the best in the world. Because, hey, maybe one day we'll lock it up and it'll be for this title around my waist and everything. So Punk coming right back. Punk is ready for a retort, asking him if he's done. And he calls for Adam Pearce to come back inside the ring, as he wants to make it official, letting it be known that he is going to be entering the Royal Rumble. So some good stuff right there. And that once he wins, he's going to be coming after Rollins. There was also something he had said in there between that where he said something along the lines of, don't you ever disrespect me again by coming out here when I haven't even called you out. There's something that was just kind of, I like the way he delivered the line. It was just really badass. I loved it. So this is really off to a really great start, a huge major step in the right direction for CM Punk. Look, we all can be in agreement. Those of us that actually had watched the CM Punk promo from Monday Night Raw about 2 weeks ago, we all can be in agreement. The slot in which Punk was given that time. And see, you know who's the regular WWE Raw fans and everything, because by the end of the night, we're seeing that promo spot. We're going, okay, I don't know if Punk's really going to be able to make his point in about 10 minutes because joint's going to end promptly. We got to get to Barmageddon. And look, when it comes to overtime, the company is paying that. WWE is paying the USA a hefty little bit of money for that extra, okay? That's part of the reason why they stopped doing that. If you notice, AEW has been doing it more and more of overtime, but make no mistake about it, the wrestling company are the ones that's, we want to pay for an additional, come on, let's go ahead, let's do it and everything. But when you saw that promo with Punk go down 2 weeks ago, yeah, it was a decent promo, but it wasn't quite the promo that we were all expecting. And, you just can't help but wonder because remember, Triple H wasn't on that show. Triple H instead was with Nick Khan. They were, I believe, out in Los Angeles, and they were trying to see what they could do with Monday Night Raw. I guess they were trying to see about finalizing a deal for Raw or attending a meeting about Raw as far as where its future home is going to be, right? So, but leave it up to what had went down on this past Friday's Smackdown, which was a home run of a segment. That, without a shadow of a doubt, was the segment that universally, I feel, majority of fans were looking for. And right down to the point, even Punk acknowledging that, hey, I came out during the last 10 minutes of the show, right? Couldn't really get, right? I mean, even he acknowledged that and pretty much PG Punk. And so we got the spicy CM Punk that we all are accustomed to. It was really great stuff. Hearing him call out Roman Reigns. Hey, you remember who the original wise man was around here, right? You're just going, oh. And then the part of his promo that went over the fans' head in attendance, the whole stuff about lunging at Tony Khan and everything, and then it turned into punching him in the face, and right, I can't believe that went over so many of the fans' heads that were in attendance. It didn't come off hardly that well received, but kind of let you know how many of them actually were tuning in and checking out AEW. And that's no shade or diss to AEW. It's just kind of stating the obvious when it's all said and done. But for those of us that's been following all things wrestling, we knew exactly what that meant. Okay? We knew exactly what that meant. So just the totality of everything CM Punk had said in that SmackDown promo, and then everything culminating in this epic segment, promo for promo with Seth Rollins. I mean, we are just back on hitting home runs here. And this was some really, really good stuff. I mean, now you can't help but look at the Royal Rumble and go, okay, so who exactly is going to win this? Because we've got some different stories that's going on here. On the one hand, we've got Shinsuke Nakamura, who we'll talk about in a little bit, because there was great development tonight with his promo and everything leading up to his match against Seth Rollins. But we've got Shinsuke Nakamura, who's trying to find his way back to championship gold. There's a story that he's trying to finish telling. We've got Cody Rhodes, who's trying to finish his respected story as he wants another shot at Roman Reigns. And now we've got CM Punk from the promo that was laid out tonight. Very, very simple blueprint, too, by the way. Kudos to WWE for laying this out. Hey, main reason why that he's back, it's not just to lock it up with new talent and get with some old familiar heads. No, 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 no. He wants to ultimately main event WrestleMania. So in order to do that, okay, well, you know what? Let's punch in that ticket at the Royal Rumble. That will guarantee one of the main event spots at WrestleMania. So the man's going to get his wish when it's all said and done, because the way WWE has been operating with WrestleMania these past couple of years now, it's been a 2-night event. It's been a 2-night event. So, I mean, you just feel that at this point, Cody and Punk, they are respectfully going to be closing out night 1 and 2 of WrestleMania. That's just the vibe that you're honestly getting, man. But hey, stranger, weird things can and will happen when it comes to the WWE and everything. But I like how they being WWE, I like how they took great strides in storyline development here for Punk going forward. I mean, they've pretty much just put this big old target on CM Punk's back, letting you know that, okay, he's got an agenda going into the Royal Rumble, but will he be able to pull it off, and will it be him that's going to cash in and dethrone Seth Rollins and his Raw Heavyweight Championship? And then even at that, let's not also forget how Judgment Day shortly afterwards got in the face of CM Punk backstage after Punk made his decision and everything. Damian Priest let him know, hey, you can proclaim this and that all you want, but tell you what, better watch out for me, because I just might be the one to cash in this briefcase on you. So, right? So that could be a huge, huge upset right there. And you know what? I would be all fine for it. I would be all fine for it, man. That'd be some pretty badass stuff right there. Feel like I'm forgetting something else that's CM Punk related that had happened in the whole mix of this, because we saw him a couple of times in some backstage segments there. I like how he pulled a Mike Adamle when he saw Kofi Kingston saying "You're making me crazy," and Kofi's like, yeah, I don't do that no more. I don't do that no more. I popped real hard for that. I really, really did. I popped real hard for that. Some really great stuff. By the way, Raw came to us from Cleveland, Ohio at the Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse. Solid crowd there. We opened up with Jimmy Uso. Jimmy, of course, was in this, not per se Jimmy, really WWE. WWE was involved in a little bit of a legal spat with the person that had the trademark for Yeet. Turns out it was a local independent wrestler who had been pushing it for a handful of years. And look, I don't care who you are, but when WWE comes a calling, okay, you got something that they're interested in, you'd be a fool to not do business with them. Give them the money. Or rather, give them a price, right? Give them a price, and, right, this is your payday. Get that payday, dog, okay? Get the payday and everything. So, remember, we didn't see Yeet, what was it, last week? Possibly the week before. They kind of did some blurring out stuff, and, you know, Jey Uso wasn't saying it and everything. But now that they've got everything resolved, as Jey Uso did say it on tonight's Raw, he got Yeet back, so everything is good in the neighborhood and everything. So good stuff right there. Jey Uso taking on Drew McIntyre was our opening match of the night. I loved it. Great opener. Nice, solid, hard-hitting. Jey Uso continuing to get those big wins when it counts the most. Jey Uso continuing to, well, except for not here tonight. He ain't get the big win here tonight as far as the W, but as far as backing up why he is known as main event Jey Uso, oh yeah, that trend definitely continued here tonight. Jey Uso just continues to impress the hell out of me week in and week out. I can't wait to go over the year-end awards too, because I gotta admit to you guys, I'm a little bit torn right now when it comes to Jimmy and Jey Uso. I'll have to think about it a little bit more, but at this point, I feel as though Jey Uso has been more consistent all year round, whereas Jimmy just now started turning it on with the personality, and he has had so many gold comedic segments, man, that just has had me howling and everything. But we'll go over nominees and all that. But if you ask me, just my personal pick for a winner between Jimmy and Jay, you know, I don't know, man. I got to go more with. That's a tough one, man. That is a tough one. I might go with Jimmy. I just, despite the fact that he's just now late turning it on, I just might give it to Jimmy. We'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll probably go over some of the categories and all that. If not, next week, which would be what? That would be the week of the 18th. Maybe, yeah, you know what? We'll do that. We'll go over the categories next week for the week of the 18th. So next Monday show, we'll go over it and everything. McIntyre is continuing his ass-kicking revenge tour. Just beating up mofos left and right and everything. I'm loving what they're continuing to do with this evil McIntyre, this bitter McIntyre, when it's all said and done. I love it. And I like this McIntyre that has this huge chip on his shoulders and everything, because this version of McIntyre, with the hatred that he has built up inside of him, this McIntyre could essentially go all the way to some championship gold. Really good. Really good. Judgment Day making an appearance. Judgment Day, man, this was a very good segment right here, because Judgment Day not happy about the fact that they're going to be defending those tag titles against the Creed brothers. Meanwhile, Rhea Ripley says talking about being a leader is easier than being the leader, which it didn't sit well with Damian Priest. Damian Priest just freaking snapped. And I'm trying to figure out, I think Rhea was the one that kind of talked him down a little bit, but obviously we're continuing those planted seeds of, hey, you know what, bump this, I'm out here. I'm loving it. I'm loving the continuing development that's going on here. Triple H was not lying a while back when he talked about longer story arcs, developments, and all that, right? I'm loving what's happening here. Also, we're just highlighting the Creed brothers. Shout out to the way WWE had booked the Creed brothers tonight. Way to really build these guys up as the future faces of your tag team division, because not only did we get the Creed brothers in action tonight, but the fact that we had Judgment Day essentially putting them over. Hey, these guys, they ain't no joke. Like, this is the real deal. We got to make sure that we're getting in all our training and stuff, because we need to bring our best A game for these young up-and-comers. But then to have the Creed brothers come out at the end of the night, saving Cody Rhodes there from Nakamura, I just loved how they were, WWE, how they were just continuing to really build up the Creed brothers here. Good stuff. Really, really good stuff right there. Good stuff. Love it. No complaints whatsoever. Bronson Reed taking on Ivar. Two big, beefy men. Don't give them no freaking water. Don't give them no bread. Just give them meat. Lots of meat. This was a meat-slapping contest at its finest. Big, sweaty, slappy meat. What was it that Johnny Knockout used to say back in the day? Big, sweaty men. Right? He wants big, sweaty men. This was just your big, sweaty men segment moment right here. Nice, fun matchup. Fun, just watching two big old behemoths fighting in the mud, basically, right? Alpha male. Who's the alpha male right here? Always love seeing a nice, good, strong pair of monsters beating the crap out of each other. Reed picking up the win Right call right here, honestly. Look, Ivar, I got to give it up to him, especially with Valhalla. He's been taking it to a whole new other level as a singles competitor and everything. But if I have to choose between the two of these guys, like I can only pick one going forward as far as developing more storytelling, then yeah, I'm going to definitely go with Bronson Reed. Future seems to be a little bit more, I won't say brighter, maybe more promising for him and everything that I would have to go with. So, but, good. It was a good match. I loved it between these two guys. Some really good stuff. I was talking about Judgment Day earlier. R-Truth continuing to try to get in good with the Judgment Day. He came out at one point, I believe, right before. Now, did Judgment Day have a. No, Judgment Day was just talking trash in the ring. That's what it was all about. But there was no Rhea Ripley on hand. I guess she was trying to cool off from what all had went down earlier. Not to mention she had a match herself. We'll talk about that in a hot little bit. But R-Truth came on out there, tried to break a little bread with the Judgment Day, telling them exactly some things that he's been noticing and as far as what would make Judgment Day better, in his opinion. JD McDonough being shown the door, nothing personal, but he just ain't a good fit. He's got to go. That got a nice, huge pop from the crowd. And we've got Damian Priest. He's trying to do his best to hear out R-Truth. And at the end, he's going, hey, it's obvious the people love you here. Right? Truth, so many people, they love you. And you have Finn Balor jump in there. He's like, I love you. It's like, hey, Damian Priest likes you. He loves you. He's like, all these people love you. Except for me. I don't like you. And he just cold beats the living crap out of poor R-Truth. Everybody else jumped in on the poor guy. Creed Brothers coming in right there. I knew there was another Creed Brothers segment. I just had to continue talking about some of the other stuff that had happened throughout the night because I'm going off of the top of my head for you guys. So just notice all those plantings there of the Creed Brothers throughout the night. And then you topped it all off by them helping out Cody Rhodes against Shinsuke Nakamura post-match, right? So really good stuff right there that we had with R-Truth. So, now, if WWE is smart, they're going to have R-Truth approach Judgment Day in a backstage segment next week. And I can just hear, this would be the perfect segment, I think. You have R-Truth show up, and they're wondering, what the hell is wrong with you, Truth? What are you doing here? Don't you remember the beating we gave you last week? What the hell are you doing here? And what if R-Truth just goes, hey, look, I know why y'all did what you did to me last week, and I just want to say, I'm sorry. I didn't mean no disrespect, but to make it up to you guys, look, I went out and I did the right thing, right? It was my bad. It was my bad. I know why y'all did what you did. That TV, that TV, it was not a flat screen TV. So I went and I got you guys a real TV. I actually got you guys a real flat screen TV. And what if he just pulled out one of those old, I know for those of you that were born in like the 80s, 90s, you'll know exactly the type of TV I'm about to talk about. But what if he just rolled out one of those Zenith cabinet TVs? Remember those TVs from back in the day? Nice, big wooden finish. Yeah, like a wooden finish of a top shelf, like on top of the TV. You were able, them things, remember, those things did not have wheels either. Remember that now. Those things did not have wheels, and they were so damn heavy. You used to have to get at least 3 people to move that type of TV around. And this was strictly a floor-level TV. What if R-Truth just pulls out one of those bad boys? Yo, I would pop for that big time if they actually executed that segment. Come on, WWE. Do not disappoint. Do not disappoint. You got to keep the running gag going with that. So Now, look, when it's all said and done, remember, Damian Priest, J.D. McDonough, Finn Balor, they all ganged up there on R-Truth. So, obviously, the ramifications of what went down this week, you can easily set up for next week's Raw, a six-man tag team. You got Judgment Day on one side, Creed Brothers, R-Truth on the other. Prelude of maybe things to come. Definitely have Creed Brothers, R-Truth go over on the Judgment Day. I'm all fine for it. Let's freaking go there. Some good stuff. Some freaking good stuff. Kaden Carter, Katana Chance getting a victory over Indy Hartwell and Candice LeRae. Meanwhile, DIY has a mystery partner to face Imperium with Gunther. That mystery partner would turn out to be The Miz. Miz and DIY picking up the win. Obviously, Miz versus Gunther 2 is coming right down to the point. There was a backstage segment, and if I remember this right, you'll have to forgive me in advance because I was multitasking around this time, but I remember seeing a backstage segment where Gunther said to The Miz something along the lines of, okay, look, if we freaking are going to do this rematch, not if I win, but when I win, you can't face me for the championship again, so as long as I'm champion. So, if I remember that right, you guys will have to let me know, but if I remember that backstage segment right, then, yeah, because Gunther was yelling at Imperium, I believe, backstage, and then Miz walked up saying, yo, I want another shot at the IC title. Yeah, Gunther did go ahead and grant it, but letting him know that it was going to be the final shot against Gunther, and that's it. So if Gunther wins, that is it. Miz will not get another opportunity, so as long as Gunther is the champion. I think those are fine stakes to put right there. Look, I appreciate them raising the stakes, right? But I still don't get that feeling that the championship is going to be going anywhere. Gunther's going to ride that bad boy out going into WrestleMania season when it's all said and done. Shinsuke Nakamura taking on Cody Rhodes was your main event. Ended in a DQ as Shinsuke has sprayed some trademark mist into the face of Cody Rhodes. By the way, at some point, I don't know where exactly the spot was. I would have to actually watch the replay, but Cody did get busted up pretty good right before that spray of the mishap went down. This match, though, got a lot of time. It got about almost 20 minutes. And obviously, the way that everything had ended, this should without a doubt set up a rematch quite nicely. I don't know if that rematch is going to be playing out on WWE television or if that rematch is going to happen at the Royal Rumble. WWE has a couple of interesting ways that they can go about this. Like, do you have Shinsuke and Cody do double duty at the Royal Rumble? You let both of them do a one-on-one matchup, and then later on in the night, we see both participants in the Royal Rumble match, the Men's Royal Rumble, or do you let this play out on Raw, and the winner is decided that way? Only, here's the thing. I mean, WWE, there's so much that they can do right here. You could essentially, because Cody Rhodes has already declared himself for the 2024 Royal Rumble, you could easily have Shinsuke Nakamura screw the hell out of Cody Rhodes at some point. Like, especially if it's, I guarantee you right now, your last four for the Royal Rumble, I guarantee you the last four guys, it really should be five guys, quite honestly, but I think your final four is going to be Randy Orton, CM Punk, Cody Rhodes. Wouldn't it be something if somehow Dominic Mysterio was able to make it in there? Wouldn't that be interesting? But no, Shinsuke Nakamura. And shortly after Shinsuke Nakamura gets eliminated, You just got to have Shinsuke come right back. Pretty much one of those, well, if I'm not going to be able to win this, neither will you. That way they could continue on with their respective program and everything, right? But you just feel that with the seeds that was planted down here tonight, obviously this rivalry between these two men, they're not done yet. By the way, we were talking about it here on the show, if not last week, the week before. And I gave this huge compliment about how WWE production and the booking team has really taken it up a notch with the Nakamura promos. I mean, they've just been out of this world. And for those of you that had tuned into one of the last two shows we put out, I said something along the lines of Shinsuke Nakamura, the way that he's been portrayed, he reminds me of one of the major characters from maybe the video game franchise Persona, or, right, like, he's got this whole Japanese manga vibe that's going on and everything. And I remember saying something along the lines of, yo, this is some really good stuff. And I believe I had even called for WWE to maybe somehow incorporate some Japan animation, if somehow possible or whatever. But I know for certain we were talking about, Japanese animation and all that other stuff. And what did WWE do with Shinsuke Nakamura this week? I know I wasn't the only one that had mentioned it as well. Shout out to my brother-in-arms, Missionary Thomas from Wrestling Soup. He alluded to it as well at great length. And what did they do this week? They went on ahead and they incorporated some Japan animation into Nakamura's latest promo right before the main event with Cody Rhodes. And I loved it. I freaking loved it. As a matter of fact, I'm trying to see if I can go to my notes for some of the things that was being said in that respected promo, because it was really, really good. And, I know that there's some people out there that's complaining about, there's always somebody complaining. You can't please everybody. But I remember seeing some people complain about the English subtitle and they want for Nakamura to speak English. I'm like, nah, man, that's really hurting the guy. That's hurting the guy. I mean, he's pretty much was doing it for the past X amount of how many years now since he's pretty much been in the WWE. Like, that wasn't working. If anything, it made him come off kind of weak. So to have him talk in his native language and do these cool things where you're incorporating anime and all that, nah, man, that's actually the direction that you want to go. It's working, so freaking stick to it and everything. No, I didn't write it down, but it was pretty much a continuation of Nakamura, how he's going to break Seth Rollins, how he's going to break Cody Rhodes and everything. Great stuff. It was really great stuff. Nia Jax and Becky Lynch had a segment together. Nothing much you could really sink your teeth into. They pretty much were just picking up where they had left off from the past couple of weeks. Trying to, Look, when it was all said and done, I personally don't care to see this. That's why I'm kind of sounding a little bit, right now and everything. But when it's all said and done, Becky Lynch was in the ring looking to have a chat with Nia Jax, talking about how they never fought. Yet we see the clip of Nia Jax breaking Becky Lynch's nose from back in 2018, right? That pretty much was the moment that the man was born and everything. Becky says it's pretty to bring it up now, but, but she can be a petty person as well. They've obviously gone different paths with Becky going on to main event WrestleMania, while Nia went out due to double ACL surgery because Nia is so unlikable that her body won't stand up for her. So that was kind of a nice little dig at Nia Jax and everything. Nia interrupting, ready to throw out a fight. She's ready to get it on. Punch in 2018, that was just a lucky punch. Imagine what would happen. Nia Jax actually really aiming and everything. Nia says Becky should owe her for her entire career, but Becky says it's about what that night represented, as Becky wants to prove that she is more than that. But Nia says Becky really needs to prove that her career wasn't a mistake. So, it was, look, I appreciate Becky Lynch trying to do her best to really carry the hell out of this little segment and everything, but it was just kind of one of those. What else we got, man? Seriously, what else is next? I mentioned Rhea Ripley. Rhea Ripley squash match against Maxine Dupree. That pretty much was WWE Raw in a nutshell. Some parts of this show felt like we were just trying to kill time and everything. But when I really think about the matches that was on for tonight, I definitely got to give it up to Drew versus Jey Uso. Bronson Reed taking on Ivar. Cody, Shinsuke Nakamura. Everything else was just a little bit so-so. Make no mistake about it, WWE finding the right groove and everything the past couple of weeks. But tonight just really felt like just burning a little bit of time. But there was some decent quality type of matches and everything. For me, the main meat and potatoes highlight of the night, CM Punk, the decision, him and Rollins, that great segment. Nice way to do freaking businessy. That's how you freaking do business. That's how you pretty much put your differences to the side and make money for everybody when it's all said and done. But yeah, nice, solid episode, well-rounded episode of Monday Night Raw. By the way, I want to give a shout out to two people that were there in attendance tonight. I can't wait to hear about their personal experiences from the Monday Night Raw show. I actually would have reached out to them right before the show, but I didn't think that they were going to be able to get back in time, maybe to their hotel room or to their car, to be able to talk about their experience at the event tonight. But two friends of mine were actually at tonight's Raw show. Definitely want to give a shout out to Eddie. Eddie was definitely there. And the other person I want to give a shout out to, I'm like trying to scroll back here because we were all chatting it up earlier in the Discord. So bear with me a second here. I'm trying to see if I can pull it up. It was, yeah, I've got it coming up. Yeah. Eddie Valentino, shout out to him. And also Vincent. Shout out to Vincent. Both of those guys were actually at tonight's Raw. So I'm actually going to reach out to the both of them within the next 24 to 36 hours, get their takeaways and everything, and see if they might be interested in coming on the Wednesday show to talk just for a couple of minutes about their live experience at Raw and everything. Because I'm very, very curious. I'm curious if they'll feel the same way I have felt when CM Punk was incorporated in the WWE 10 years ago. And you just think about not only the caliber of talent that was running around, but you also think about some of the great story arcs that was happening at that time as well. I'm very, very curious. So hopefully they'll be like, yeah, freaking let's do it. I'll let you guys know. Well, hopefully we can get them on the show this week. Some other things that we can get into here on the show. It was nice that all the respected television networks, I'm talking about CBS, ABC, Fox, NBC, it was really nice that all of them at 8 p.m. Eastern last week, they all did a in memoriam opener for Norman Lear before they went into their respected set of programmings for the night. As by this point in time, for sure, many of you are aware of this, but TV icon, producer, creator Norman Lear, he passed away. And, look, when it's all said and done, he lived a nice, long, rich, fruitful life This man was not only able to reach 100 years old, this man was able to hit 101. Okay? He hit 101. That is, there's nothing to be. Look, all life is precious. It always sucks when somebody passes away, young, middle-aged, old. But it's not as bad as, hey, somebody 101, especially when they were able to pass away surrounded by their family at their respected home. What was really perplexing and surprising for me was the fact that when I was checking out my local news later that night, nobody was giving Norman Lear a nod. And I just couldn't help but be baffled at that, because it was, wait a minute, like, what's going on here? And before you guys go, oh, well, Lee, you just had talked about the University of Nevada shooting. That wasn't until the very next day, which was on December 6th. So I would imagine that, and look, before anybody goes there, I don't believe that if the shooting didn't happen, Norman Lear would get, I don't believe that would, no, because they had pretty much that whole day before the shooting to talk about Norman Lear. And at least as far as the nighttime newscast, when I say nighttime, for me, I'm talking about by the time you got to the 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock news, they didn't mention Norman Lear. Now, if they mention Norman Lear and your respected neck of the woods for your local news, hey, man, they're freaking doing it right. But for out here in the D.C., Maryland, Virginia area, a.k.a. the DMV, they did not bring it up on the 10 and 11 o'clock news, which was very, very shocking. But Norman Lear, to educate you people, because we didn't get a chance to talk about his passing as we weren't on the air at the time. We were supposed to talk about his passing on that Wednesday show, but we didn't get a chance to. An American screenwriter, producer, wrote, created, developed over 100 shows. When you think about the 1970s in particular, you think about All in the Family, you think about Maude, Sanford and Son, One Day at a Time, The Jeffersons, Good Times, all of that, Norman Lear's fingerprints all over it. And as I had said on social media in regards to his passing, I just want to read to you guys a statement that I had put out there the day of his passing and everything. And isn't it like, whoa, when you really stop and think about it? Because about less than 3 years ago, Janet Dubois, she had passed away, if you guys recall. She lived just long enough to do the Good Times remake special that they had did a couple of years back. I don't know if you guys remember that, but it was basically an updated version of Good Times. It was live on ABC through Jimmy Kimmel's production company and everything. But I had this to say in regards to Norman Lear, and I'll definitely double down a little bit more on some of the stuff that I'm talking about here when it comes to Norman Lear. But a social commentary juggernaut that captured the climate, culture, people, and events in real time. That's what Norman Lear meant to myself and many others. He truly did revolutionize television for generations to come. Race relations, Vietnam War, Watergate, to everyday issues like gas prices, inflation, neighborhood crimes on the rise, poverty, drugs, the LGBTQ plus community. You've heard me say Marvin Gaye's What's Going On album is my all-time favorite album, as it was a masterpiece concept album that tells the story of a soldier coming back from the war. Well, Mr. Lear provided the best story and soundtrack for many Americans dealing with life in the 1970s. That whole decade of Norman Lear, some of the finest writing, production, creativity at its finest. Seriously, people. He made it comfortable being uncomfortable with certain things and views of the world and openly discussing them. His shows still hold up to this very day. That speaks volumes. His timing was perfect with the introduction of the blaxploitation era as networks were starting to get away from their country show lineups. Truly the GOAT, rest in peace, legend. And, just to follow up on that in regards to Norman Lear, you think about a lot of the TV shows that was running around, before Norman Lear just put his foot through the damn door and just started doing the damn thing. A lot of the TV shows, everything was peaches and cream. It was rainbows. There was no problems happening whatsoever. Every single TV show that was being presented before Norman Lear, is basically some, middle-aged white America family. Life is good. The husband is working. The wife is staying at home. She's minding her place, and she's keeping the house clean. She's taking care of the kids, and yeah, life is grand. There's no problems going on whatsoever in this here country called America. Everything's just peaches and cream. And then you had some TV shows that were knee-deep into country shows. I'm sure a lot of you guys, you're probably going, country shows like Green Acres, the Beverly Hillbillies. Some of you guys may go, hey, I like those shows. Those were pretty good. I like those. But there was a point where you had too much country that was running around back in the day of country shows. Bonanza, Gunsmoke. There's like so many that some of these networks, CBS being at the top of that list, we've got to rebrand our image because now we're just being known as a country broadcast show, the country broadcast channel, basically, right? Bump CBS, CBC, the country broadcast channel, right? ABC, you may be the American broadcasting, right? But no, you're showing all these damn country shows and middle America shows where there's nothing happening in the world. Everything is just fine. Man, Norman Lear came into that bad boy and he just said, yeah, you know what? He literally, if you want to get real, for real, he in part rode the coattails, excuse me, he rode the coattails of the blaxploitation era. Remember, the blaxploitation era started at about, around the late 60s, but really exploded on the 70s. Richard Roundtree, Gordon Parks, and what they did with Shaft, that great soundtrack by Isaac Hayes. That just opened up a whole big old that Hollywood was going, we got to capitalize on that. We've got to do our own unique spin on Shaft. We got to do our own cinema. We got to somehow implement what's happening here, excuse me, in cinema. And we got to somehow try to adapt that to television. I told you guys many times off and on over the years how there was a Shaft TV show starring Richard Roundtree. It only lasted one season. I don't believe it was able to do its full run of episodes. I believe it stopped after about 14, 15, 16 episodes. And it was really, 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 really bad. Now, some of you guys may go, well, what made it bad? What made it bad is you just think about all the social and economic issues that first Shaft movie was tackling. And you think about how John Shaft was against working for the police. He wanted to do everything himself. Essentially, that's why people were coming to him in the first place for his services, because they knew he would get down to the heart of the matter and he would get results as opposed to the police. After all, you had some that were corrupt and some other stuff, right? But when you got to the John Shaft TV show that was on CBS, man, they did such a watered down version of the John Shaft character. They had him working for the police. He was a detective or whatever. They took him out of the trademark black leather trench coat, wearing all black. They took him out of all that. He wasn't cussing like a sailor and all of that. He was talking extremely proper. It was just a complete 180 from what people had saw of him on the big screen. But to my point, Norman Lear pretty much was able to come in through the back door on that blaxploitation era that was doing a phenomenal job in tackling real issues that was going on in our country. Whether you want to talk about police corruption, you want to talk about racism, you want to, right? I mean, you want to talk about how drugs was on the rise. Essentially the beginning of the crack epidemic. So much that was going on. Norman Lear pretty much came right behind that, and lightning in the bottle. The timing was so damn perfect. And, of all the Norman Lear shows that I can think of, as far as recommendations go to like anybody that has never watched any of his shows, and I think a majority of fans that know their old school television as well, they'll join me in saying, okay, if you've never watched a Norman Lear show, where you need to start with All in the Family. I mean, that show still holds up to this very day, right down to the point. I remember when they did the All in the Family live presentation a couple of years back, again, through Jimmy Kimmel's production company. And I'm sure a lot of you guys remember Woody Harrelson, believe it or not. He was Archie Bunker. And I believe Marissa Tomei was Edith Bunker. I believe it was Marissa Tomei that was Edith Bunker. I'm trying to think who was George Jefferson. George Jefferson was Jamie Foxx, believe it or not. George Jefferson was Jamie Foxx. I thought they did a good job. It definitely was enough. If I remember correctly, I think they did a good of enough job to come back a second time and reprise their respected roles. I could be wrong. I'd have to research that. But All in the Family, hands down. What the late, great Carol O'Connor had did on that show as Archie Bunker, I mean, what a way to take your typical TV dad and just turn that son of a gun inside out. And no. Let's really portray, what's really going on here. And this wasn't a white family that, everything was peaches and rainbows. No. Let's be honest. You had in Archie Bunker, you had a bigoted white man that did not like blacks, as was apparent when the Jeffersons had came, and then they were pretty much living next door. It was pretty much, why these people got to be living next to us? And well, look, don't cause no trouble, won't be no trouble. It was kind of his whole mindset. Didn't care about the gays. Thought it was very taboo and something was wrong with them mentally and that they were evil or whatever, right? Didn't get along with his son-in-law. Thought his son-in-law was nothing but crap. Great that he's married to his daughter, but didn't think the young man had any prospects whatsoever. You see the way that Archie Bunker had did his wife Edith, or like a lot of people would just look at that and say, how could she put up with that man for all of these years, the way that he would be so demeaning, degrading, belittling of her. I mean, they really flipped this inside and out, and just a lot of the topics that they were able to tackle. You're just going, You know, times were changing by the time we got into the 80s and it was Archie Bunker's place. How that show was able to get the green light for, what was it, 3 or 4 seasons is beyond me, because honestly, All in the Family should have respectfully ended, and anybody that's a big Norman Lear fan will say the same thing. All in the Family should have ended when Gloria and Mike left to go to California. That's when the show should have ended. Would have been a great run. Put a cork in it. That's it. But the show continued on for what was it, like an additional 4 seasons or something like that. Remember, they introduced Steffi and all of that. But once Norman Lear came in and really shook up the foundation of television, I mean, others pretty much said, okay, well, you know what? This seems to be working. Let's go ahead and let's see what we can do with that. A lot of the original programming that you see on your TV sets right now, in some part, Norman Lear had definitely paved the way for them. So rest in peace, Norman Lear. Sincerely, rest in peace, Norman Lear. I did get a chance to check out NXT Deadline. Can't stress it enough. For those of you that did not get a chance to watch the premium live event, go out of your way, watch it. I didn't see the dark match, but I did see the actual card itself and everything. I thought that Dragunov had a decent match against Baron Corbin for the NXT Championship. Dragunov retaining. No surprise right there. Kiana James defeating Roxanne Perez in the steel cage match. I was expecting, one, that match to go a lot longer. Two, the finish to that match. I thought the girls did a decent match, but the finish was just a big old wet fart when it was all said and done. Trick Williams winning the Men's Iron Survivor Challenge to determine the number one contender for the NXT Championship at New Year's Evil. That was the right way to go. Trick Williams been picking up some serious momentum these past couple of months. Was looking a little bit, I was concerned there, because remember, Trick Williams, I remember at one point I was looking at it, and I think maybe there was about 90 seconds left in this bout, and myself and many others in the Discord, we're going, that's a damn shame. Trick Williams is at 0, and everybody else, like, man, how they going to do our boy like that? And then all of a sudden, Trick Williams started stringing them all together just in the nick of time and everything. I would imagine him, Carmelo Hayes, is going to show his true colors at New Year's Evil when he screws Trick Williams out of becoming the NXT champion. Bank on that. Bank on that. Elsewhere, for your Women's Iron Survivor Challenge to determine the number one contender for the NXT Women's Championship at New Year's Evil, Blair Davenport defeated Tiffany Stratton, Lash Legend, Kalani Jordan, and Fallon Henley to advance. Tiffany Stratton, boy, I tell you, I'm just thinking about, is it Aqua, the band that did Barbie Girl? I'm a Barbie girl in a Barbie world made of plastic. It's fantastic. You can comb my hair. Touch me anywhere. I think that's how the song goes. Is it Aqua? I'm trying to think who the band is that, come on, Barbie, let's go party. Come on, Barbie, let's go party. I got the weirdest songs in my head. But, I mean, damn, Tiffany Stratton is really looking like a Barbie girl in a material world. I mean, seriously, but to the point, I know WWE has been playing around off and on with actual music from major artists. I dare say, let Tiffany Stratton have a NXT weekend moment for during WrestleMania weekend. Let her have an NXT weekend moment where she comes out to Madonna's Material World. Seriously, it would suit her so freaking perfectly. Dragon Lee defeated Dirty Dominic Mysterio to become the new North American champion. Did not see that coming. I did not see that coming. I felt that even though Rey Mysterio had lost the United States Championship to Logan Paul, and
we've sporadically seen him in the WWE universe, right? But I thought for sure that Rey Mysterio's son, Dominic, was going to hold on to that North American Championship long enough, go into Mania, and maybe there was going to be some type of a hair versus mask match while the title would also be on the line at the same time. Remember, my original pitch, I was calling for not just a hair versus mask match, but I was also calling for title versus title as well. And it's just amazing how pretty much at the end of 2023, where things stand right now with the Mysterios, I'm very curious because I know Ray, he's been wanting to do that match. He wants to do a mask versus hair match with Dom at a Mania. Well, I can't wait to see if they're actually going to pull the trigger on that bad boy. I have to wait and see. Some other stuff we can get into here on the show. Sami Zayn, they did address his injury status on tonight's Raw. They said that he has a partially torn meniscus and that it's still being evaluated, but that he's going to be out for some time. Basically, in storyline, when it's all said and done, Sami Zayn had requested for some time off, so he is getting that respected time off. I feel pretty good, by the way. I know I said we were not going to touch anywhere near an hour, 30 minutes, but let's keep going. I feel pretty good. I don't mind going an extra couple of minutes. We'll probably go an extra maybe 10 minutes and then, or maybe less than that, and then we'll pretty much be done with it. Lexis King had took to his Twitch channel recently, and he was acknowledging the fans that have been calling themselves registered Lex offenders. And he basically said, look, it's very clever what you guys are doing. Really, it's creatively smart. It's funny as heck, but don't do that because that's just too close to home. It's extremely, very edgy, very taboo what you guys are doing. And we're just not going to be able to say that on TV. So appreciate the love and the support. But yeah, y'all just need to stop that ASAP. And look, honestly, he's right. That's not him being soft or anything like that. And before anybody says, well, bitch, AEW, I don't even see AEW doing that. I don't even see them touching anything like that. No, I got them staying very, very clear of that. So hopefully the fans will heed his not just his plea, but also take it as a warning, and they will just keep it moving along accordingly. Speaking of AEW, see the latest ratings that came in for their respected Rampage. Looks like Rampage's demo rating hit a 4-week high from last week's show, while the viewership was down a little bit. Last Friday's episode did a 0.12 rating in the 18 to 49 demo and 341,000 viewers. This is according to WrestleNomics. Numbers up 20% and down 2% from the previous week's 0.10 demo and 348,000 viewers. I know in regards to the last two editions of Rampage, I know the Rampage from 2 weeks ago, shout out if you're following my reviews on the 401 Mania site for Rampages. Sometimes I do collisions, but usually almost of the time it is Rampage episodes. I know the Rampage from 2 weeks ago, I gave that a 5 out of 10, and I talked about so many issues that I was not a fan of from that respected show. And I also had listed, hey, these are ways that Rampage going forward should try to improve Rampage a bit for the fans. And I tell you what, in my review from going into the weekend's latest edition of Rampage, look, I don't know if they are Tony Khan and them. I don't know if they're reading my stuff. I know there's been times where I'll do the tags, and I'll usually tag Tony Khan. I know he's been making his rounds, reading what stuff is being said and everything. But I tell you what, I gotta give Tony Khan and crew a lot of credit for what they had did with this past Friday's Rampage, because some of the stuff that I had noticed, which was a drastic improvement, and I mentioned it in my closing statements here. Let me see here. I'm actually trying to, yeah, I had said in part, you can read this for yourselves. I had said in part, remember my rating from last week wasn't too pleasing for some. That included from some here on the site, but I call them as I see them. Almost word for word last week came to fruition, and I can't hate AEW is trying. I said more Abaddon, done. More Powerhouse Hobbs, done. Do a Continental Classic match or two, done. Unless Orange Cassidy is defending his title on Rampage, less of him on that show, please. Defends title, done. We've got, and I went on to say, we've got certain people on AEW, that should be in AEW, checking our reviews and have been for quite some time, which is good because it means they are reading and are listening. But I also had said going forward, I like to see for Rampage episodes the future of Daniel Garcia explored more. In addition, more appearances by Trisha Dora, as she has a great look and shouldn't be behind a paywall. She did fantastic in her match against Abaddon for what it was worth. Matt Menard scores high marks for me on commentary, as he should be given more opportunities. Hopefully he does. The flow feels better with Ian, as I can do without Shivani, honestly. I was recognizing Ian Riccaboni and Matt Menard. They had actually a pretty good flow going on Rampage. Continue on with more Abaddon appearances with Julia Hart egging her on. Santana, Wardlow, Christopher Daniels, Matt Sydal, and Sky Blue. Keep plugging them into Rampage. I also went on to say Rampage needs to be treated like next man and woman up that can eventually become a major player for Dynamite and Collision, mainly Dynamite. And I had asked for some people to, sound off on this and everything, because if there was really one main reason to watch Rampage from this past Friday, it was for that Continental Classic matchup alone between Daniel Garcia and Bryan Danielson. That was one hell of a freaking match. And most of the people that commented had agreed. Yeah, it was a one-show match edition of Rampage. But, the match was really, really, really freaking good. Smackdown, meanwhile, has saw its rating and audience rise to its highest points in several weeks. Friday's show garnered a 0.63 rating in the 18 to 49 demo and 2.384 million viewers, according to WrestleNomics. That's up 6.8% and 16.6% from the previous week's 0.59 demo, an audience of 2.044 million. So, pretty good stuff right there. So, apparently, Seth Rollins' WWE deal is expiring supposedly next year. As far as when exactly next year, not known at this time. Of course, we also had talked about how Becky Lynch, Drew McIntyre, reports are their deals are going to be coming up for renewal next year as well. It's not known right now if WWE has made any offers to these three just yet. But per Sean Ross Sapp of FIFO Select, WWE and Rollins, again, have yet to start talks to extend it ahead of the contract for the World Heavyweight Champion. Right now, according to Fightful, they're saying that by their respected sources, they believe that Seth Rollins' contract is going to be expiring sometime in June of 2024. Obviously, you would think WWE is going to make some type of a move to continue to have his services and retain the services of Becky Lynch as well. You would imagine that it is going to be a priority and everything. So, we'll see what happens with that. Meanwhile, several WWE stars were re-signed to deals in 2019 when AEW launched, and that put them in a 5-year deal. It's uncertain, it's unclear right now if that included Rollins or if his contract was already set to expire in 2024. So, kind of interesting what's going on there. Speaking of talents, per PW Insider, there's reports that multiple WWE wrestlers will become free agents next week. I've got the list of those names for you guys, as they'll be able to start working anywhere as of December 31st. Those names include, just to refresh you all's memory, Mustafa Ali, Aaliyah, Shelton, and I don't mean the singer, the late Aaliyah, I'm not talking about her, Shelton Benjamin, Rick Boogs, Dana Brooke, Dabo Kato, Elias, Quincy Elliott, Yulissa Leon, Mace, Mansoor, Riddick Moss, Matt Riddle, Shanky, Top Dollar, Dolph Ziggler. Speaking of Dolph Ziggler, he has challenged Ray Gonzalez to a match at WWC Euphoria on January 20th. So it looks like this will be Dolph Ziggler, also known as Nick Nemeth. This will be his first match since being released from WWE. That event is going to be held on Saturday, January 20th at the Pepin Cestrio in Bayamon, Puerto Rico. So he actually did a video. Looks like it was via TikTok, pretty much putting out the challenge, letting it be known he's going to be appearing for the respective promotion and all that. Looks pretty badass. So check it out. Still looks the same. He's still pushing the same look, everything that you remember about him. The trademark blonde hair, hasn't cut it, still looks the same. So looking at these names, look, I got to be honest with you guys. If you're AEW, if you're Impact, you would be a fool to not reach out to Shelton Benjamin and Dolph Ziggler just based off of this list. You would be a fool to not reach out to them to see if somehow you can acquire their services. Matt Riddle, he kind of gives me the impression with some of the cryptic messages he's been putting out there that maybe he's going to be entering the adult film business. Have to see from there. Dana Brooke definitely strikes me as someone who, hey, I had my time in the sun. That's pretty much it. Like, I'm going bye-bye. If you were to tell me we're not going to see any more of Dana Brooke, that wouldn't surprise me one little bit. I don't really see that many promotions trying to reach out to her like that. I could maybe see her do something in NWA. TNA would definitely be a long shot, I personally feel. Elias, if he's really serious about it, yeah, sure. What the hell? Sure. Everybody else, I'm not exactly too sure about, quite honestly. I'm honestly, I wish I could be more confident and say, hey, I can see, but there's a lot of names that's on this list where I go, I think we've honestly seen them for the last time. Just looking at this list off the break, there is just, honestly, 3 names, 4 tops that I can look at and go, yeah, they're going to keep on going. And everybody else, meanwhile, I just feel as though, no, they're done. They're going to stick a fork in it. They're going to just spend time with their family, make the transition into a nice, quiet civilian life. And, next thing you know, 5 years have passed and, they haven't. Speaking of 5 years and everything, I've got to give credit where credit is due. I'll mention it on the Wednesday show because I don't know the name of the podcast offhand, but somebody had recently caught up with Nydia. Shout out if you remember Nydia from back in the day. Wrestled a little bit. She mainly was a valet for Jamie Noble and everything. She has aged gracefully. She, for some, I'll be honest with you all. For some of you, you may feel as though she lost a little bit of her cuteness. But I just think I think she looks gorgeous. I think she looks fine. But some of you all may feel that she's lost a little bit of her cuteness. She definitely does not look recognizable. You have to do a double take and almost squint your eyes a little bit. She hasn't picked up any weight. That's the thing that I really want to make sure that I stress. She hasn't picked up any weight. She is still a small framed woman. But yeah, you have to squint your eyes a little bit and you go, is that like, I'm not really, like you see her now, you would never think that at some point she was involved in the wrestling business. She just looks like maybe she works in the nursing industry. And then other than that, she's pretty much a homebody, just making cookies for her kids, taking them to soccer practice or whatever. She's got a homey type of look. And I mean that in the most respectful way. That's definitely not in a disrespectful way. But yeah, she was recently interviewed, and I've been having that on the backlist to check out and everything. Been meaning to check it out. I'll definitely have listened to it by then, let you guys know what's going on. Also, next edition of the RCWR show is going to be coming at you guys Wednesday, December 13th. I'll be live after AEW Dynamite is off the air. We can definitely get into some AEW news. I'll give you guys my thoughts on the TNA Final Resolution event that aired from over the weekend. Hey, shout out to our sponsor, ShopTotallyT-shirt.com. Again, ShopTotallyT-shirt.com. Whether you have a sports team, company, or charitable event and need custom t-shirts, hats, or hoodies, ShopTotallyT-shirt.com can help. Check them out right now, as ShopTotallyT-shirt.com offers the very best and high-quality items at a great, affordable price. Match that with top-notch customer service. You cannot go wrong. So check them out today, ShopTotallyT-shirt.com. Shout out to friends of the show, Julian Cannon of Digiday and The Nocturnal. Also shout out to Anthony Thomas, Joe Numbers of Wrestling Soup. Shout out to Jason Solomon. I know Jason had recently celebrated a show anniversary as well, because me and him are like almost neck to neck when it comes to our anniversaries. I think his anniversary for his show is usually it's always the week before my anniversary. That's how I'm able to remember it. So shout out to him and another anniversary. Now I'm trying to think. I don't know what year Jason is on. I think he might have me beat by a couple of years. I know we're into year 12, which we officially recognized and celebrated 2 weeks ago and everything. Be kind, rewind, check out previous episodes. Oh, by the way, shout out to the great community, particularly the mods over there on the Wrestling Soup Discord. I know sometimes it's kind of hard to tell. Sometimes I'll be busting people's balls and be playing around just to be playing around. But sincerely, shout out to all the mods, and I'm not being paid to say this, but particularly shout out to all the mods that do what they do over there week in and week out. A lot of hardworking guys over there working behind the scenes, making sure everything runs smoothly and all that. Yes, get at your man on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Use the keywords, the RCWR show. Oh, Twitter is no longer a thing, right? I meant to say X. formerly known as Twitter. X gonna give X gonna give it to you. X, get at me on those respective platforms. You can also check out the show wherever you get your podcast by searching the RCWR show. Stay connected to me throughout social media. Like I said, I'm going to be live on the air through campus radio doing my 30-minute live radio show. If you guys are interested, if you have X, or if you have maybe, you could even comment on YouTube on this video if you're interested, and I'll definitely reach out to you, try to message you that way, or for make it really, really quick, you want to get a faster response, you can definitely email me, the RCWR show at gmail.com. Make sure you put the THE in there, and in the subject heading, say live radio link, and I'll know what's going on. Just let me know your name, and I'll definitely hook you up. Like I said, I don't want to spam out the campus link because I think they're still trying to test the waters of the strength of the internet and all that. And plus, we got some crazy people out there, so I want to make sure that we don't have no funny shenanigans go down and everything. But if you email me or you reach out to me on X, I'll definitely hook you up. Just slide in my DMs on X, or say, hey Lee, can you give me a quick follow? So I can slide in your DMs real quick, and I'll definitely hook you up and everything. Until next go round, wishing all of you all to be safe. Most importantly, be kind to one another. I will see you next go round, y'all. Adios and take care.